So the issue with content creation is that it is truly the death of vlogging.
Get ready to head into hell.
This is as emo as I could bear to dress at 33 years old. A little bit of a haul of everything that I picked up along the way. I have a bone to pick with Mr. John Gwynne. Hello my guys, welcome to a cute weekly reading vlog, and what a week it is going to be because I have a very exciting Bookish event this week, and then I also have a personal trip to London for a few days that I'm going to be taking you guys along on. But do not worry, there is still going to be plenty of reading in this vlog as well, because we all know I do my best reading on the train, and there are going to be 4 long train journeys this week, so I'm actually expecting to get through quite a bit. But before I get on any of those trains, it would be really ideal if I could finish my current read. It's going to be done by the end of the week anyway, because I have a live show for it on Sunday night, which you guys are now probably aware that the book that I'm talking about is The Fury of the Gods by John Gwynne, which is the final book in our current round of Catch Up Book Club. And don't worry, because we will be back to tackle a new series by the end of the year, so keep your eyes peeled for the announcement of what series that is going to be. We're still working in the background to decide what we're going to be picking up next, but don't worry, because all of the options are looking really good. But this one is the final book in the Bloodsworn saga, which is John Gwynne's Norse mythology inspired series. It's one that is quite difficult to describe because at the beginning of this one, all of the perspectives are seemingly unrelated, and it's only at the end of the first book where everything starts to come together, which obviously I don't want to be giving any of that away. But something that I can tell you that all of our perspectives have in common from very early on in book 1 is that they are all looking for missing children. Now, the time that we enter this world is one of political turbulence. Times are changing, and a lot of the Jarldoms are uniting to provide a stronger front against some of the more powerful entities that may be threatening to invade. So we have a queen in this world called Queen Helga, who is uniting some of the Jarldoms to protect her territory from a powerful neighboring Jarldom that could be looking to claim more territory for himself. On top of that, we also have a little bit of a resurgence in the magic of this world. It is a world that is already magical. They have little creatures that descend from the gods. They have like spirits of the forest and things like that. And it is known in the history of this world that there was a huge battle between the gods where all of the gods essentially ended up killing each other, and the bones of the gods are very valuable. There is also this like legendary battle place where all of the gods went to stage their war, where there is thought to be a lot of ancient treasure. But aside from the bones and the remnants of the god being very valuable, they are also potentially very powerful, and the gods start to become a presence in this world again when humans get a little bit too big for their boots and they start meddling with powers that they have no business dealing with. So I am already 108 pages into this one. I started it yesterday. I am going to be immersion reading it, which is how I've been reading a lot of epic fantasy recently, but I've also been doing it with a lot of fantasy books in general. So far, I'm not super sucked into this installment. I find a lot of John Gwynne's books to be a real slow burn. I struggle to get back into them for the first 100 pages or so, but then I find the further you go throughout the book, the stronger they get. I have a prediction for what's going to happen in this book, given some of the events of the 2 books that have come before it, and also like the titles, the aesthetics of these books. I feel like a certain something is going to happen, and so far we've had no mention of it, but I'm really excited. I really hope that that is going to be a main part of the plot in this book, because I've been looking forward to it since I finished book 2, so fingers crossed that that element is going to make an appearance. I am, as I said, hoping to finish this over the next couple of days. I don't really want to be traveling with a It's not that chunky, it's like 500 pages, but I try to travel with my Kindle when I go places. So if I could knock this one off before I go, that would be amazing. My main plan for the next couple of days is to get essentially all of my ducks in a row because I won't be here for the rest of the week. So I'm working on scheduling some Instagram and TikTok posts. I already have my YouTube videos edited, but they need proofing and scheduling. So for today at least, I'm going to be getting on with all of that stuff and like admin, and then the rest of the week I'm pretty sure is going to be a lot more fun. So the issue with content creation is that it is truly the death of vlogging, because I just sat at my desk yesterday working through my to-do list until about 8 p.m. and then I played Fortnite for a couple of hours and went to bed and watched ER projected onto my bedroom ceiling. So I don't really have anything for you from yesterday. I also didn't read very much. I only made it to page 136 in Fury of the Gods, so that pretty much kills my dream of having this done before I get on the train tomorrow. But I am hosting sprints on Patreon this afternoon from 12 until around 5 p.m. So my plan is to wrap up everything that I have to get done, because I've got a few bits left before the end of the day. But if I could get it done at some point this afternoon, then I'd have a little bit of time to get through a chunk of this on sprints as well. My plan before sprints is to get a little bit of work done and then go for a run. I have 1 week left of my running program. I've got 2 runs left and then my 5k, which should fall at the beginning of next week because I'm away for so much of this week. I'm going to do the actual 5k I think next week. I'm currently working on Peloton's 5k running program, which has been really good actually. I'm a little bit nervous for the actual 5k because I'm at the point in running where I'm enjoying it as it's happening, or I feel accomplished when it's done. But when we're doing really long intervals, like the last ones I did were 18 minutes, I'm really wanting to be done by the time we get to the end of that. And obviously for the 5k, I'm anticipating it's going to take me somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes because I'm not fast. That's a long time to be running for a girl that normally works towards time goals rather than distance goals. Like I work out for 30 minutes, I run for 30 minutes, and then I stop. I don't run to a distance, I run to a time. So we'll see how that goes. Today I'm doing shorter intervals, but with some variation in speed, which will be a nice break from some of the longer stuff I've been doing. I feel like it's going to pass more quickly, even though I have to run faster. But before I do that, I'm just going to enjoy my coffee, because y'all know that I'm precious about that. I cannot get up in the morning and do something that I don't want to do. It's not that I don't want to do things, it's just getting straight out of bed and going into something that's difficult or requires concentration or discipline. It's not really for me. I prefer to chill out with my coffee first. And I also want to open this for you guys, which my postman very kindly dropped off yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to show you guys what's inside. I'm pretty sure this is from Del Rey, and it is an arc of a new fantasy that's coming out in maybe August that I love the cover of. So this is a proof of, oh, it's so nice, The Castle and the Cloister by Laura E. Weymouth. I feel like the cover on this is giving Ghibli. I don't know if it's the art style or just the fact that it's so architectural. I don't think there's anything about this book that is going to be comparable to Ghibli whatsoever, but you guys know I love an architectural cover, and I haven't seen the back of this before, but just generally the illustration style on this is gorgeous. I feel like yellow books as well aren't especially popular, but I really like the design on this. The back says, a queen who strives for peace while her king thirsts for war, a priest who lives in darkness lit by the flame of vengeance, a woman who fights for herself with the fate of a kingdom in her hands. The release date on this is the 4th of August, and it says the first book in a compelling political fantasy duology for fans of The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, Robin Hobb's Farseer series, and Catherine Arden's Winter Night trilogy. Sounds perfect. Priory of the Orange Tree, maybe not so much, but my main issue with Priory is that it's a standalone, so if it's not a standalone, I don't have a problem. The synopsis is actually quite short, so I may as well just read it. It says, 2 centuries ago, the kingdom of Honoria's goddesses were silenced in blood. Now as the realm's fragile peace falters, the whims of a king may reignite the engines of war. At the last remaining cloister of the sun goddess, a young postulant seeks safety for her child, but discovers that sanctuary comes at a heavy price. In the castle on the mountain, a queen treads a knife's edge between loyalty and betrayal, desperate to shape a gentler future. And deep in the mountain's heart, a blinded priest waits in the darkness, biding his time. Together they will risk the wrath of gods and kings and decide the fate of a kingdom. I am definitely hyped. So hopefully I'll be able to get this in before the end of the month. Realistically though, it is looking like it's going to be the beginning of next month for me. 420 pages. I feel like it looks thicker than that, but the font is actually really, really small. Given the things that this is compared to though, I feel like I'm going to enjoy it. Fingers crossed.
It is a hot day. I've just parked up in Doncaster to get my train to London for the Penguin Michael Joseph Siren Summer Festival, and it's 30 degrees here. It's only 25 at home, and it's only going to get hotter the further south that I go, which I don't actually think I'm prepared for. I'm already struggling a little bit, honestly, and to top it off, I've only managed to get parked in the car park that's furthest away from the station, which is sad because I wanted to nip into the works before my train, because I believe it's only a 5-minute walk away from Doncaster station, so that I could pick up the works edition of Into the Fading Twilight by Catherine Cowles, and I was thinking about also reading that on the train. Unfortunately, I don't think I quite have enough time to do that now because my train's in 30 minutes and I'm not in the car park that I wanted to be at, but not to worry, I still have The Fury of the Gods by Gwynne, which I'm hoping to make a dent in on the way. I only read one chapter yesterday, so I have some catching up to do, but hopefully with my 2 train journeys, I want to get at least 100 pages through this, and I should still easily manage to get this finished with the rest of the train journeys that I have this week as well. So I'm going to go and brave the heat. I'm going to top up my sunscreen and also my anti-chafe powder, because your girl needs that, and get ready to head into hell, which I'm sure is what London's going to feel like in this heat.
Take me by seaside baddies on the go. You're 3 to 5 from noon. I don't wanna know ya. I got scared and I got something for ya. Not my heart, not my space, not my street. I wish you'd stay. There's no point without ya, and I wanna leave. When I came back in, you were not where you belong. I heard that the hurricane took you away. Laying out, and I got something for ya. Not my heart, not my space, not my street. Wish you'd stay. There's no point without ya, and I
Welcome to my exceptionally poorly lit hotel room. It is 4:30. We've just come and got ourselves checked in, freshened up a little bit, changed my shoes because my sandals gave me blisters, and we're going to be heading out again. We have a pop-up, or Curtis has a pop-up for Magic the Gathering in Covent Garden at 6:30. I of course will be tagging along, and then we have a dinner reservation at 8, so in between that we're just gonna have a wander around. We don't have a whole ton of free time while we're here because tomorrow we'll only have the first part of the day before we have to get ready and go to the gig, and then to be fair actually we have until 2 p.m. on Saturday before our train home as well, so we'll just have a little wander around, see what we can find. There's always something popping off in London. And in terms of reading, I have read a significant chunk of my book, finally. I did read at least 100 pages on the train last night. By the time I got home, I was on page 270. And then I've read an extra 60 pages on trains today. Technically, my train journeys were a lot longer today, but in the first one, I just kind of stared into space. And then in the last train, I slept for the last like half an hour of it. And I did spend a good portion of that time as well scrolling through funny TikToks. And honestly, no regrets, because I only got 6 hours of sleep last night and I need 8 hours. I don't function well without 8, and it shows. But I'm now on page 330 of this, and it's just got to the point where I'm kind of getting back into it. I don't know what it is about this series that makes me really struggle to get absorbed in each book in the series. I actually think that the easiest one for me to get hooked into was the first book, and maybe that's because I went into it knowing that I wouldn't be instantly absorbed, because I was learning a new world, I was meeting new characters. The second book I felt really picked up towards the end, but the beginning and the middle were a little bit less exciting for me, and I feel the same about this one. It's somewhere in the section that I read today where I feel like I'm really sinking into it again, and I'm enthusiastic and excited to see what's coming up next. So that's somewhere between 270 and 330 pages, so like well past the halfway point of this book. I will say, interestingly, my favorite character at this point is probably Elvar, which is wild because way back in book 1 it was Orca who I was the most attached to, and I was really struggling to connect with Varg and Elvar the most. And I think that's because in book 1 you spend a lot more time with Orca kind of before the big event that puts her on the path that she is on throughout this series. So I felt like I was more attached to her when bad things were happening to her. I cared about her a little bit more because we'd seen her already go through something very early on. Where Elvar and Varg, I feel like their perspective took a little bit longer to kind of like build momentum. I still think that this is going to be a really dynamic ending, and I'm excited to see it. I'm still waiting on the thing that I want to happen in this book. It hasn't happened yet, and I'm like, it has to. I don't accept that it's not going to happen, but so far, no dice. So I probably won't read very much today. I would be very surprised if I read very much tomorrow. In fact, I think I'm more likely to read a little bit tonight when we get back than I am tomorrow at all. But can I finish this? I'm not sure if I can finish this on the train home, but we'll see what happens.
I still need to recover from another lover. Would you be here for me? Never met your parents, not even your mother, but let's see where this leads. What should we do tonight? What if this breaks your little heart in mine? What should we do tonight? Let's just find out. Pretty blue jeans and me, running through evergreen. Pretty blue jeans and me, yeah, she's what I need. I still need to recover from another lover. You're my picture perfectly. Still haven't met your parents, but we hang with your brother when he could use the company. What shall we do tonight? What if this breaks your little heart in mine? What shall we do tonight? Let's just find out. Pretty blue jeans.
Okay guys, this is it. This is a look for My Chemical Romance. This is as emo as I could bear to dress at 33 years old. I feel like I'm 15 and going to the under 18s emo night in Wigan that I used to go to weekly. We have the fishnet tights, we have the Converse. The dress I only bought a couple of years ago. It's not really that emo, but with the combination that I have going on down here, I do feel like it is given 15 years old off to listen to My Chemical Romance in a mosh pit, which is what I'm doing. So fit in. honey, I'm home. I've been home from London for a couple of hours now, and guys, I am exhausted. It has been such a full-on week. I had an amazing time at the show last night though. Up until this point, My Chemical Romance have been pretty much the only big emo band that I hadn't seen. So to check that off my little emo bucket list was a dream, but honestly, I did not expect them to be so good. If you're familiar with My Chemical Romance at all, you will know that the vocals, they can be waily, they can be screamy, they go like up and down in pitch. So I wasn't expecting Gerard to be like on point vocally, and 100% he wasn't. Like, in Welcome to the Black Parade, he stayed a lot lower than the song is originally, so like some of it felt a little bit off, but the performance was amazing. Like, I was blown away by the Black Parade set. I went in more excited for the B stage set than I was for like the Black Parade show. The Black Parade portion was phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Would love to see it again. It's their final UK date tonight, I think. It's their third night at Wembley, and then I think they're going to Europe for 2 dates before they go on to the next leg of the tour, which I think is Asia, unless they have something in between like this and Asia. But it was so good. The B stage set though, and if I have some MCR fans, I know you're going to be mad at me when I say this, the B stage set was not amazing for me. The first night in Wembley that they did, that B stage set would have been my dream. Cemetery Drive is my favorite My Chemical Romance song, and I knew because they played it in night one, they weren't going to be playing it in night two, which is unfortunate. And something else that is a little bit unfortunate for me personally is that they re-released one of their albums, which is the Danger Days albums. Yesterday is when the re-release came out. So they played a lot of that, and that is the only My Chemical Romance album that I'm not really familiar with at all, because at that point I'd kind of like moved on and their sound changed slightly and I wasn't a big fan. There are some songs off that now that I really like. I haven't gone back and listened to some of it, but yeah, a lot of that just like was not really hitting with me. Did love In the End. My favorite song that they played was The Ghost of You. Also really like Summertime. I do like Summertime. I was really sad though, considering they did so much Danger Days, that they didn't do Planetary Go, because that's my favorite song off that album. And then finishing with Demolition Lovers. I would have preferred Sunsets Over Monroeville or Headfirst for Halos, but Demolition Lovers, you know, it was kind of good. So if you are not MCR fans and that means nothing to you, then let me give you something to draw you back in, which is going to be a little bit of a haul of everything that I picked up along the way during this trip. So we have the tote bag of books that I brought home from the Siren Summer Festival. Also an amazing time. That was so cool. And then also the few things that I've picked up in London, which, you know, normally I like to shop in London because obviously you got a lot of stuff going on. Didn't do too badly in my opinion, but we'll start with the books. I came home with this wonderful, I actually just really like the tote bag in general. They had 3 colours and I ended up with the black one. Didn't pick it, was just given to me, but I feel like it's the best option for me because the others were baby pink and baby blue. And this has 3 limited edition Siren Summer Festival exclusive proofs in it, which is amazing. Now they did have a book table there, which I probably showed you guys in the B-roll. And because this is my second year as a Penguin Michael Joseph Siren VIP, a lot of the books that they had on the main table, I have already read or I do already own through repping for them for a year. There were just a couple that I was interested in and I went off to do other things, and by the time I came back, those books weren't available. There was one that I was really intrigued by. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, so I'll pop it here. The cover was really speaking to me. But I'm going to keep my eye out for that one because I'm interested in reading it. But I mean, it's not a huge deal at all. I still came home with 3 books. Got a ton of books around. I'm sat in front of the stacks. So, you know, we shouldn't really be adding to these babies. The bag also had a can of matcha in it, which I need to put in the fridge. And it also had this fictional men lollipop in. They also had a bunch of really cool stuff at the event, including a live illustrator and a photo booth, which I might, yes. Here's my cute little illustration. This is by art by Emma Asprey's. I'll put her Instagram down below. She is a live illustrator and I think she did such a good job. It was really cool because she had like a stand where she was putting the drawings when she'd finished them, and I could tell from the drawing who was in the illustration. So you know that she's doing a good job. They also had a photo booth as they had last year. So I have a bunch of cute snaps. Oh, I made my own bookmark as well. I messed up a little bit, but I'm still happy with the outcome. So the one that I'm actually the most excited for is Love Felt Like This by Julie Olivia. Julie Olivia wrote a book that I almost read this year. I do own it. I got it in the Siren autumn box, I think. And it's called If It Makes You Happy. It looks like the perfect autumnal romance based on the cover, and I couldn't squeeze it in last autumn. So I've been waiting for this autumn to roll around so that I can pick that one up. It did come up on a couple of booktubers' best books of the year list, which I was looking at for an episode of Shelve It or Scrap It I did at the beginning of the year. Because it isn't the season and it does look so fitting for autumn, I decided to give it a miss for now. I'm also very excited to add this to my autumn roster this year as well, because once again, very much given autumnal vibes. This one I'm pretty sure is a musician and a children's TV presenter. She is a children's television producer and he is a brooding famous singer-songwriter, and they have to hide out in her cozy mountain hometown attempting to script, compose and revive children's television magic. This one is released in October this year. One that I feel like a lot of people are going to be intrigued by, but I'm just not sure if it's going to be a hit for me, is Tailwind by Olivia Hayward. I will say this is my favorite cover out of the bunch. I feel like the color palette is just super satisfying. But this one is the first book in the Dragon Rush series, and it is Dragon Riders meets Formula One. Now, the reason why I say I feel like a lot of people are really going to love that is because there's a lot of Formula One girlies out there. Unfortunately, I am not one of them, but I also don't care about hockey and I really like the Off-Campus series, so it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to enjoy it. And this one is about somebody who is kind of like a groomsman, but for the dragons that they use in this sport. I can't remember if it says, oh, she's a dragon keeper, obviously makes sense. And the guy who actually races the dragons, something happens to him and she steps in his place. This is a sport that I don't think women are supposed to compete in, but because it's a helmeted sport, she can get away with it. And that is pretty much all the synopsis gives me. And this one is released in September this year. And then the last one of this bunch is Harbinger by Geneva Lee, released in September once again. Geneva Lee, I'm pretty sure, is the author of a vampire series. It doesn't say, because this is a proof copy, it doesn't really give me that information, but I'm pretty sure that's why I'm semi-familiar with Geneva Lee. This one is a more typical romancy synopsis following a girl who, after her magic inheritance ceremony ends in catastrophe, half of the world believe that she's going to be the harbinger of war. The noble families are trying to kill her, assassins are hunting her halfway across the world, and she has to team up with the most feared man in the kingdom to protect herself. Then wrapping up the books, you will have seen in the B-roll that I did pick up one book in London, which was of course Into the Fading Twilight by Catherine Cowles. I did manage to squeeze in a very quick flyby visit to the works at Westfield just to pick this up. The quickest trip to Westfield that anyone did ever. If you've been to Westfield in London, you will know how truly spectacular that place is. It is immense. The biggest shopping mall I think I've seen in this country. I don't know whether it holds that title. It's given like Trafford Centre on steroids. It's truly huge, but I did really want to pick this up while the work still had this edition. I think I've already said to you I'm not that bothered about the sprayed edge, but this is also like one of the cheapest ways to get this book. Saying that though, what happened to £5 books? Because I'm, you know, like ancient practically, I remember when the books at the works, pretty much all of them were 2 for £5. Now it's £6 for a singular book. I don't shop at the works very often actually, because I feel like the majority of the fantasy books that they have, if I'm interested in them, I already have them. And there's a very select amount of romance books that I will go out and buy new, kind of like as soon as they're released, or even like own physically, especially if they're available on Kindle Unlimited. But I'm pretty sure this price increase is very new. But this one is the second book in the Starlight Grove series, which is surrounding 5 brothers whose father is a serial killer. So they feel like they have a lot to atone for, like they have some sort of like secondhand guilt because of what their father was doing. And so they use their various skills to help people find out what has happened to their missing loved ones after the cases have gone cold. So in book one, we follow Dex, who is a hacker, and he helps, I think she's called Brayden, the female main character of that book, find out what happened to her best friend that went missing 1 year prior. And this one is following Cole. I can't remember what his skills are. Is he the hunter? He's a single dad. I remember that. He's a Forest Service investigator. That's it. And his love interest, I will not spoil for you, but the love interest of this book and the third book that's being released in October, we have met in book one. But Cole is one of the brothers that I'm the most interested in, so I'm especially excited for this one. And unfortunately, I really wanted to see if I could squeeze this into this weekly vlog. I've barely read anything. I know I've had a busy week, and now in hindsight, I'm kind of like, okay, I should have anticipated. This was not the best week to vlog. A lot of exciting stuff has happened. Reading, taking the back seat a little bit. Understandably so. I'm not mad about it. I did think I'd get through a little bit more though. Unfortunately, I'm still reading Fury of the Gods and I still have 108 pages left, which I need to read by 8 p.m. tomorrow. My plan after filming this update is to just curl up on the couch because I'm honestly just so drained until football, which is going to keep me up late, unfortunately. So I have like 90 minutes until kickoff. And honestly, if the game's not an exciting one, then I tend to just like read through it and glance up at the TV. I don't think we're going to the pub because we've been out all weekend, but it is also the World Cup quarterfinal, so maybe we'll see what happens there. We're playing Norway today, and I don't know how this has happened. I am blaming the kinky book talk girlies because somehow my Instagram algorithm has ended up filled with like Haaland Bellingham shippers. There's some weird Omegaverse things that I've seen, which I wish I could unsee if I'm being honest. I've seen so many just like Haaland in general compilations. This is not a side of the internet that I needed to be on as somebody who's literally not that invested in football. I honestly didn't know that this side of the internet existed, but I also shouldn't be that shocked about it really. Then to round us out for this little clip, I just want to show you the three things that I picked up that aren't books. First off, of course, I got my Black Parade t-shirt. I feel like this is the most popular of the tour merch, as it should be. Very nice t-shirt. I got a double XL, which is the size that I wear when I intend to wear it over cycling shorts because it's like loose, it's baggy, it hits like mid-thigh. I also picked up one of my favorite albums of 2026, and I'm just like other girls, guys, because it's The Great Divide by Noah Kahan. I haven't been doing a lot of regular vlogging, so I don't know if I've told you how I've ended up so deeply invested in Noah Kahan. Never listened to the man before. I hear that he's like Taylor Swift for men, and I 100% would back that up. But essentially, I saw a TikTok comparing the lyrics of Willing and Able, which is on this album, to Darrow and Cassius's relationship in Red Rising. I listened to Willing and Able, barely listened to anything else since. So this one is the American Rust pressing. My best friend is obsessed with Noah Kahan and has all of them. And of the ones that I've seen of his, this one was my favorite. Unfortunately, I have been listening to The Last of the Bugs on Spotify, which is the extended version. And so it doesn't have all of the songs on it. It does have my favorite one though, which is Downfall. And I think the only one that I'm actually really upset isn't on here is Orbiter, because I cycle through which songs I listen to the most, and Orbiter's pretty high up there for me right now. But I'm so excited to play this. And then lastly, I got a Notting Hill shopping bag. I love an oversized, like a generously sized slouchy coat. And I've been seeing these everywhere, mainly because every single tourist shop in London rips them off. They're hanging outside. They're obviously like cheap knockoff. So I looked into the actual Notting Hill bag and we went for lunch in Egg Break, which I'm pretty sure is still classified as Notting Hill. And I was like, okay, well, this is like right at the end of Portobello Road. And you know, I love me a rummage. And I know that Portobello Road now is mainly just like things overpriced for tourists. So I didn't buy anything off there. But at the end of Portobello Road is the Notting Hill bag shop. So they have a bunch of really nice ones. I really like the denim ones, and I also really liked the acidy ones that is like part of this range, and I was torn between the brown, the purple, and the green. I got the green, and then I realized that the other main tote bag that I use, which is my Don't Books one, is also green. So I should probably have gone with the purple or the brown, but I love it. I carried my stuff home in it today. So that was everything. I've been here a while. This could have been a sit down video on my channel. I'm gonna go and read my book. I'm very tired. I might shower actually just to rinse off the sweat and the sunscreen of the day and slip into something extremely comfortable. I'll just double check that we're not going to the pub. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with my final thoughts on The Fury of the Gods, which I don't know if it's just because I'm really tired right now. I'm not having the best time with this. I don't hate it. I just am not as invested as I would like to be for the final book in a series. I finished my book super early this afternoon, so it is time to bring you my final verdict. And I did not love this one. I gotta be honest. I feel like that's pretty obvious from what I've already said about it in this video. It's definitely not my favorite John Gwynne book that we've read, although the last 100 pages I thoroughly enjoyed, and that is kind of consistent with especially this trilogy from John Gwynne. I'm pretty sure I've already mentioned in this video that I tend to get considerably more invested in the books in this series the further we get towards the end, and this was definitely no exception. I do think though that this had the roughest build up until that end point for me. I feel like book one in this series was the most consistent. It did ramp up towards the end, but I was more invested throughout the entire thing. Book two, I started to warm to it more around the halfway point, and this one there was a little bit where I kind of got more into it, but then I felt like it dropped a little bit up until those last 100 pages. The interesting thing about me being so invested in the end of this book is that it is a quite lengthy battle scene with very little reprieve through that entire final section, which is about 20 to 25% of the book. And while I appreciate that John Gwynne's battle scenes are somewhat more realistic, given that he has a heavy interest in like historical battle reenactment, I do find that his books can be quite battle heavy, and battle scenes have never been my favorite part of the fantasy genre. So it does really say something about the events of the end of this book that I was so heavily invested in what was going down. I don't think that this book was as shocking as the second book in this series, which I guess at this point is probably my favorite. I'm pretty sure I gave book one a 3.5, book two 4 stars, and then this final book I think I'm going with a 3 just because I struggled so much throughout the majority of it. And even though I'm really happy where this ended and how it wrapped up, I don't think that makes up for how much of a hard time I had throughout the first like 75% of this one. And I just can't put my finger on why I struggled so much more with this series than anything else I've read from John Gwynne. The Faithful and the Fallen at this point is definitely my favorite series of his, and that is because his writing style and his pacing is actually quite different from his other two series. He takes his time a lot more with The Faithful and the Fallen, whereas the other series tend to be a little bit more concise and action heavy. The only thing that I can think of why I didn't enjoy Bloodsworn as much as the like of Blood and Bone series is because of Blood and Bone is in an already established world, a world that I've read from before, where John Gwynne has taken a lot of time with the world building and the character development and the unfolding of the story. So even though the character progression moves a little bit faster, the plot moves a little bit faster, I already know a lot about the world because I've read a different series set in the same place, whereas this was completely new characters in a completely new world. And I think that I just really prefer a really slow, thoughtful, thorough build into a fantasy series to get me invested. Back when I started this series as well, I did say that Norse mythology is not something that I'm particularly drawn to. I've read 2 books that feature Norse mythology that I can think of the top of my head right now that's like heavily Norse influenced. The first one was Neil Gaiman's book. I read this many, many years ago where he's like retelling Norse myths. And I then read the first book in Danielle L. Jensen's Norse series, where once again, Danielle L. Jensen is an author that I've really loved before in a different setting and really did not get on with the Norse inspiration of her other series at all. And I feel like that could potentially be one of the reasons why this one didn't gel with me as much. The casualties of this series as well. I have a bone to pick with Mr. John Gwynne. Obviously, you're supposed to be impacted by the casualties, right? It's supposed to be characters that you care about, but I just feel like the characters that we lost in this book were a personal attack against me specifically, given who I felt the most attached to at the end point of this series. And even though I'm saying that I'm not as invested in this as I wanted to be, it really struggled to grip me. I didn't feel immersed. I was still upset by some of the losses that we had in here, even more minor side characters that we hadn't spent a whole ton of time with, but I felt had always kind of been there in supporting roles or in the background. Just the loss of them was a little bit sad given the entire journey of this series. I do also think that there's an element of this that is a little bit anticlimactic. We got to a point where I only had 40 pages of this book left, and I wondered how we were going to be able to wrap it up given the position that we were currently in at that point with not very much of this book left. And I like the way that we kind of got around that problem. It was interesting and definitely unexpected, but it's the same for book one actually. There is a big anticipatory moment that I don't feel like delivered the punch that I expected it to, although I am really glad that the plot did manifest in that way because it's something that I really wanted to see in this book, so I'm definitely glad it was included. I just wish it had been a little bit more of the story, given what I have particularly enjoyed about this series. There are quite a few similarities between this series and some of John Gwynne's other books as well. Some recurring themes, some types of characters that are looked upon more favorably than others. Some of the battle strategy I felt very similar. So definitely a lot of the hallmark of John Gwynne's writing in here. Just not my favorite from him. And I did enjoy it. I just really don't feel like this one impacted me as deeply as the Banished Lands books did. I am really excited to continue reading from John Gwynne. He does have a release at the beginning of November, which I keep calling The Wolves of Winter, but is it The Wolves of War? It is called The Wolves of War. All I know about that one, because I actually haven't looked at the synopsis, is that it features Slavic mythology, once again heavily historical in inspiration, and from the title I'm guessing that we have wolves in a prominent role, as we have had in every one of John Gwynne's books, and I'm really interested to see whether I enjoy this one more. This one is going to be a duology, I think, so once again even more abridged, but I think that the individual books are going to be a little bit longer, and it's once again going to be set in a new world, so we'll see how well I kind of get established in that new world. So I guess with that book we'll see whether it is an issue of me just preferring John Gwynne's slower introduction and his slower world building, or whether it was actually the Norse mythology setting of this series that was the problem. Overall, though, I did really enjoy this one. I just didn't love it. Definitely not going to be one of my favorite series, unfortunately. So that pretty much wraps up this vlog. I am still so drained today. I had grand plans for today. I was supposed to be going for my second prep run of the week, which was my final run of the program before I run my 5K. And then I was going to like wash my hair, get myself all set up for the new week. We have absolutely no food in, so we were supposed to do a big food shop. And I also of course have the live show discussion for this in a few hours as well. We also had to pick Hamilton up from the cat sitter because they're only open in the mornings on the weekend, and most of that has been written off. We did of course go get Hamilton. We did a very small food shop at our local supermarket instead of going like further afield to go to the big one and do like a really big food shop. And I'm not running. I feel so tired once again. I did compromise though a little bit, and I decluttered one of the drawers in my bedroom that has been collecting stuff that I don't really use. So I essentially like halved the contents of it and organized everything a little bit better. So now I've got an empty drawer. I am in a big decluttering mood right now as well, so that definitely scratched an itch. But aside from the live show, that is pretty much all I'm going to manage today, and I'm going to do my run and wash my hair first thing in the morning instead. So I am going to go and chill out, maybe start a new book for a couple of hours before that live show. But thank you so much for joining me this week. This vlog did not go exactly as I anticipated, but as this is a more relaxed weekly vlog style, it's not the end of the world that I didn't read as much as I wanted to. I knew that I had a lot going on this week, but I also did kind of want to vlog this week for personal reasons. So if I ever kind of like want to look back on it, then I can. So I hope you guys don't mind that we had a little bit more of a relaxed one with less reading. But of course, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this vlog if you made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you're a go and nobody knows. With guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.